what's the word? So I decided to make a quick little video. I would like to answer a somewhat impossible question, but I think it would be fun to answer theoretically impossible occurrences. This manga called Toriko, and a part of the reason why I'm such a big fan of the series is because massive attacks are given out on a worldly scale, one of my favorite tropes of anime and manga.
Minority World!
This character named Knocking Master Jirou, one of the truest definitions of an unk and an OG in the anime, dishes out one of these attacks in which he clenches his fists, leaps, and punches the ground at a single point, causing a reaction that not only stops the world's rotation, a planet with a circumference of 220,000 kilometers, roughly 5.5 times larger than our Earth minus the differences in planetary mass, differences from its composition, and gravitational differences in the human and gourmet world, refer to Coco's theory. But also seemingly stops time for a split second with his knocking ability, an ability in Toriko in which a person strikes a creature's nervous system in order to disable and make a creature easier to capture. Now I'm not sure if he actually stops time, but the way the anime and manga portrays it, I'm gonna use my headcanon that said he did stop time for a split second since everything seemingly came to a halt along with the Earth. So I've tried calculating the math myself of this theoretically impossible task since you cannot stop time, but with my high school level physics skill and the internet, without consulting the two most useless sites on the planet, I gave it a shot. So without further ado, let's begin. So I'm not going to act like I completely understand what I'm talking about. Since I do not have a physics degree, I'm studying biology and I barely understand that. And I'm not going to act like game theory and act like I know what I'm talking about and drag out these long complex equations that I fully don't understand. So I'm just going to use them and explain why they matter. First, I handled the stopping the planet's rotation question. We know that the Earth has a period of about 23.93 hours and a gravitational binding energy of 2 times 10 to the 32nd joules. It also has an angular velocity of 7.29 times 10 to the negative 5th radians per second. The Earth has a moment of inertia, I equals 8.04 times 10 to the 37th kilograms times meters squared. Therefore, it has a rotational kinetic energy of 2.138 times 10 to the 29th joules.
Nobody cares! Nobody cares.
And assuming that there is a moon for Toriko's world like our Earth's, tidal acceleration also comes into play where the tidal forces gradually slow down the planetary's rotation. Acceleration causes a gradual recession of a satellite in a prograde orbit away from the primary. While not accurate due to a multitude of factors and lack of information of the world and the fact that I'm a complete lazy bastard, how about you answer this shit yourself, Mr. Toshi? Multiplying this number by 5.5 times gives us 1.1759 times 10 to the 30th joules. We're about to get wacky. Yeah. That's about 51 trillion megatons of TNT if we multiply by 5.5 times, and that would take 30 million years due to inertia. But if you were to instantly stop the planet like Jirou, forget ginormous waves, wind destroying the surface being scorched, magnetic field disappearing, all that shit, it would just completely destroy the planet immediately off rip. But also ignoring that, we would have to get into special relativity numbers, Heisenberg's uncertainty, so we would get into some really wacky shit. And the icing on the cake, with that much mass, energy, and pressure comprised into a single point of his knuckle, within that small amount of area, it's safe to say that shit would cause a black hole. So I'm not going to do all these wacky comparisons, probably just going to do one. So to put that in perspective, Sarbamba has 57 megatons of energy, base form of, base form Goku, Kamehameha is 2 times 10 to the 31st joules of energy, and around 1,000 Sarbambas. Enough to destroy half the planet, so you would need about 894,736,842 Kamehamehas to match, or 894,736,842,105 Sarbambas. And no, I'm not going to include a corny ass Mobamba joke. So to destroy the sun, you need to overcome its gravitational binding energy, which is 6.87 times 10 to the 41st joules, or 1.64 times 10 to the 15th megatons of TNT. So including Jirou's stopping power to stop the Earth's rotation immediately, it would be well enough in energy to destroy the sun and potentially destroying the solar system with it because of the supernova, and many more. Now we're going to be on our hit shit. Now to stop time, since that is a relatively impossible thing to do since time is an independent variable and relative, we need to use Einstein's theory of relativity to answer. In special relativity, there are 2 time parameters: the time that passes in the rest frame of an object called the proper time, and the equivalent amount of time that passes for an observer relative to whom the object may be moving in space called the coordinate time. You can try skewing both of these times, but relatively speaking, you pretty much can't. To put it quite simply, the only way we could stop time is if 1, the object were the speed of light or faster, which would mean it would have no mass and infinite energy, or 2, be infinitely dense or compress something into a singularity or black hole and distort gravity to a point where time would stop from the person's perspective. So for a black hole to form, it would have to be smaller than the Schwarzschild radius. So if Jirou had a compressed enough energy smaller than that, it will almost guarantee create a black hole, which he probably did with compressing that much energy to a single knuckle. And that's assuming that the knocking was stopping time. So yeah, Knocking Master Jirou can amass enough energy to blow up a damn sun and create a black hole. Honestly, DBZ tier, if you ask me, as many Toriko characters are. Very slept on. Read Toriko, goated. A lot of wild shit happens, and even crazier things than the grad knocking occurs, and so much hype. The god damn! That's why he's one of my favorite characters. The best unk in anime. Let me know if I did any calculations wrong, or you actually know what you're talking about. Unlike me, I like to know. In any case, Godspeed.